What's up, everyone? So I originally wanted to do a 13 Nights of Halloween series where I reviewed all 11 DCEU movies from Man of Steel to the Suicide Squad. But I don't have the time, patience, or energy to do so. I will give my thoughts on each film in 1 minute or less in a really fun way. Let's go. I love pretty much everything about Man of Steel when it first came out. I saw it on one of my last days of high school where a mob of my friends went to see it during a matinee show after a half day, and half of us snuck in, so I saw Man of Steel for free. It's a modern reintroduction to Superman, directed by Zack Snyder, that acts as an epic first contact film full of spectacular Dragon Ball Z action, immaculate cinematography, and one of Hans Zimmer's best musical scores. I love the prologue on the failed civilization of Krypton. Henry Cavill plays a compelling conflicted Superman with Dances with Wolves and Maximus as his dad, which is just great. Amy Adams as a cool Lois, and Michael Shannon as Zod is great. I will find him! Overall, Man of Steel is epic, awesome, and I get why people dislike it, since this version of Superman here is still learning as he goes along, making mistakes and divisive choices, but that ultimately makes him more relatable. I like how this film kickstarted what we have today, so this gets 9 capes out of 10. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is the most polarizing blockbuster alongside the Star Wars sequels. Ben Affleck's Batman is the best. Not only does he bring the comic book aesthetic to life, but he portrays a broken Bruce so well, and it's such a fascinating portrayal of him. Jesse Eisenberg is a coked up, unhinged billionaire with a god complex. Gal Gadot's introduction as Wonder Woman is yas! Larry Fong's cinematography brings the iconic comic panels to life. The action looks great, especially the amazing warehouse scene, the title bout, and the final battle with Doomsday. The bam, 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 bam score is just great. Also, the Martha moment is a smart way to get Bruce to finally see himself turning into a monster and bring him back to clarity by seeing himself in Clark, a boy crying out for his mother, which is what Bruce has been since that tragic night. This movie is not for everybody, and that's okay. It's a very long, mature, complex, dark, violent, serious, and weird movie that tries to be the biggest thing ever made. Snyder swung for the fences, and I respect him for that, and I can easily talk all day about this film, but I gotta move on. 9 out of 10 capes. Suicide Squad's trailers made us think it'd be something special, right? Until it wasn't. Will Smith is really cool as Deadshot. Margot Robbie as Harley can turn on her charm and insanity in an instant. Viola Davis as Amanda Waller is just perfect. Jack Courtney just lets loose with his boomerangs and his pink uniform. Killer Croc's makeup is awesome. Diablo is also a standout with his tragic backstory and his dope-ass final transformation. The character introductions by Waller are fun. The character interactions, whenever they let loose, are enjoyable. The positives end there because this movie is either ridiculous or fucking boring. Cara Delevingne is not good as Enchantress. Jared Leto as Joker is a chaotic mixed bag and has no bearing on the plot. Most of the action scenes are bland. The soundtrack is so obvious and overbearing. Incubus CGI is bad. It's clear the movie had a messy production, and I hope the air cut happens. Overall, Suicide Squad is a lot more interesting when it's having fun with itself. But it needed a better story and polish to justify that, and when it's not having fun, it's dreadfully boring. 5 out of 10 capes. Wonder Woman's release was a freaking moment. I was out of the US for most of this film's theatrical run and finally saw it almost 2 months after it came out, but man, the wait was worth it. I love how this film mixes in fantastical Greek mythology with an old-fashioned adventure set in World War I. The production design and costumes here are outstanding with the way they recreate this time period. Diana's outfits are just oof. Gal Gadot's presence shines here. She's so hilariously naive yet fierce while also being one of the most empathetic heroes we've had in comic book movies. Chris Pine as Steve is awesome. He's funny and charismatic, and his clashes with Diana make their dynamic so natural and great. No Man's Land is one of my favorite action scenes in a comic book movie. It's perfect in the way it showcases the immense power of the most iconic female superhero. The movie does lose some steam by the end, but I do still love it, and it's poetic that the most iconic female superhero led the way for more quality female-led comic book films. Overall, 9 out of 10 capes. Justice League is a disaster on all fronts. There's a deep rabbit hole of things that happened to this movie. When I saw this movie in theaters during a matinee, I was with a friend who was like, it was kind of boring. Deep down I agreed, but I was in absolute denial, but I just couldn't believe it. It's a sloppy, SparkNotes oversimplification of Snyder's vision that soullessly tries to imitate Marvel style. The only positive here is that the cast is trying really hard to keep the sinking ship afloat. Also, Jason Momoa is just over the top and incredible in this.
Oof. You're gorgeous.
The praise ends there. Henry Cavill's face is just awful. I love Ben Affleck's Batman, but here he's just a sarcastic, grinning jackass as a reaction to his dark turn in BVS. Ezra Miller's wisecracking, pop culture loving Flash is definitely imitating Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Steppenwolf looks bad, he's just a tall, ugly, gray humanoid figure who is just so generic. Cyborg barely being a character sucks. The final battle between the League and Steppenwolf is underwhelming, the special effects are terrible, there's just no cinematic flair at all, the Russian family subplot is egregious, and they're just there for unearned heroic moments. It's shocking how much WB overreacted to the bad critical reception to the previous movies, but let's move on. 4 out of 10 capes. Aquaman is awesome from beginning to end. The movie has a cheesy tone to the latest Fast and Furious movies with aspects of Avatar, King Arthur mythology, and Indiana Jones mixed into one gloriously bombastic package. The visual effects are incredible. Atlantis feels so alive with its bright, colorful visuals, with the underwater action scenes being so freaking epic. It's all that James Wan, visual buffet of wonders. Jason Momoa is just one large global badass who lights up every scene he's in. Patrick Wilson as Orm is absolutely going for it with his hammy performance, and I love everything about it. Call me Ocean Master. Amber Heard is cool as Mara, her outfits slay, and when she uses the wine to stab people, it's just amazing stuff. I guess my only flaw with the movie is Black Manta, who looks awesome, but he's kind of in it for no reason. Overall, Aquaman is just awesome. Yeah, it's cheesy as all hell, and it may not be for some people, but it knows what it is, and it rocks with it from beginning to end. 9 out of 10 cakes. Shazam taps into my inner child. A kid says Shazam turns into Zachary Levi and has all these powers, but what elevates this film even further is his heart and relatability. Billy is a foster child who just wants to find out what happened to his mother. The actors of Billy and Freddie are really good. Freddie especially, who is so funny and charismatic. The whole family just plays off each other really well. Zachary Levi is just so infectiously energetic and enthusiastic. At first he's a bumbling man-child trying to figure out everything, to finally becoming a respectable hero. I like Mark Strong's Dr. Savannah. He was a good contrast to Levi being so goofy. The 7 deadly sins look creepy as hell. Standout scenes include when Billy finds out the truth about his mom, and of course the Shazam family. It's just so satisfying seeing all these kids get their moment, with all their personalities still being intact as they turn into these gods. Shazam is a simple yet effective film that people of all ages can enjoy that has a nice message of family and friendship. 8 out of 10 capes. Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn is honestly a lot of fun. Margot Robbie is genuinely great. She's charismatic, funny, and is willing to commit to Harley's madness and vulnerabilities. The visual style is oozing with an insane, colorful atmosphere inspired by John Wick and Tarantino. Kathy Yan is a young, talented director whose passion can be seen with every frame. Ewan McGregor as Roman Sionis, aka Black Mass, is just an evil, vain creep who's going for it the whole time. Wish he didn't die. Journey Smollett-Bell as Black Canary is a standout. I always liked Rosie Perez. Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress was dope, but unfortunately isn't in it enough. The fight against Black Mask's army is awesome because the acrobatics on display, mixed in with the chemistry of the actresses, makes it a lot of fun to watch. The final chase is also really good. Props to the stunt team. Overall, Birds of Prey is definitely underrated and will most likely get more appreciation down the line for its badass action, lovely ladies, and stylish direction. 8.5 capes out of 10. Wonder Woman 1984 is kind of a misfire. It's jarring going from an epic adventure war film to a Saturday morning cartoon. None of the credited writers from the first film were involved in this, and it definitely shows. The emotional core between Diana and Steve is what saves this movie, despite its problematic overtones. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine again have amazing chemistry, and the role reversal from the first movie was hilarious at times. The wardrobe montage is just iconic. Then there's Pedro Pascal's Maxwell Lord, who's a hammy mother lover who's having so much fun with this role. He takes a wishing stone and wishes to become the stone it grants anyone's wishes. Kristen Wiig's Cheetah is undeniably just a side villain whose story feels so inconsequential. The Wonder Woman spectacle was fun and colorful, but nowhere near close to No Man's Land. The prologue is overlong and could have proved its point in half the time. Overall, Wonder Woman 84 is silly, at times fun, but extremely flawed sequel. I respect Patty for wanting to make a different film, but it just doesn't live up to the high ceiling of the first movie. 6 out of 10 capes. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a massive improvement over the 2017 disaster in every single way possible. To compare and contrast why this version is better would take me hours. Here's a shameless plug to my podcast doing just that. This 4-hour epic film feels like the Justice League we're supposed to get. It's quite the accomplishment that Zack and his crew were able to restore this many hours of footage and over 2,000 shots of special effects. I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's an ensemble piece that successfully develops its 6 heroes with an epic creative vision by someone who understands the deep DC mythology unlike anyone I've ever seen. Underdeveloped characters like Cyborg, Flash, Steppenwolf justifiably get their due. The film takes its time and isn't afraid to challenge its characters, as their triumph feels sweet when they finally start to realize their place in the world and how they can all effectively complement one another. Yes, absolutely. Restore the Snyderverse, but that doesn't happen. Thank you, Zack. 9 out of 10 capes. The Suicide Squad is a colorfully twisted and indulgent comic book film from James Gunn. The film improves upon the concept of the first Suicide Squad film exponentially by actually feeling like a movie where any of these characters can die at any moment. Their chemistry and interplay was gold with all their distinct personalities. James Gunn seems to really resonate with D-list characters with the amount of heart and likability he injects into them. Idris Elba is badass as Bloodsport. John Cena as Peacemaker made the best use of his personality. Diana Melchior as Ratcatcher 2 was wholesome AF and made rats kind of cute. King Shark is pretty much a twisted group. And yes. Polka Dot Man was awesome. He was the schizo guy from The Dark Knight. Joel Kinnaman was a lot more charismatic here. Margot Robbie's Harley is great. As always, she has her best outfits and a standout action scene. I pretty much love this movie. It will most definitely turn off a lot of viewers for being a bit too big and unapologetic about itself. A movie full of laughs, action, camaraderie, violence, and raunchiness deserves 8.5 capes out of 10. Ha 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 ha! That's it. 11 DCEU movies in 11 minutes. Yeah, I love this messy ass franchise. Here's my ranking of all the movies. Follow this person on Instagram, Kezia. She makes amazing art. She made this amazing thumbnail. Hopefully it got your attention so you can click on this video, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and keep watching those DC movies later.